Hey, what's up everyone? This is Drew Davis, and I want to welcome you to Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll actually improve your vision the longer you listen. I want to take a moment to thank you for joining me today, and I've got some great information lined up for you. So relax and tune in, because we're about to begin. Hey, what's up everyone? This is Drew, and I want to give you all a heartfelt TGIF. It's been a long week, and I've been working in the trenches this week, and that's kind of what I wanted to share with everyone. Is I say that with a certain level of pride that you might not expect. And why is that, right? I mean, working in the trenches, that doesn't sound too glamorous. It doesn't even sound decent. It sounds pretty grimy. It sounds pretty unpleasant, actually. Who wants to be working in the trenches? We got to spend more time working in the trenches. But you know what? Working in the trenches is something I've been able to find a newfound respect for. Working in the trenches is actually where discipline is developed. Working in the trenches is where actual skill is built. New skills are built when you're working in the trenches. New muscles built when you're working in the trenches. And it's funny because when we think about work that has to be done, right? When we think about the work we got to do, we got to go up and, we got to go out to work one day, or we got to go hit the books and do the studying that we need to get the grades, right? We're having to do this process that's not all that enjoyable, but it's necessary if you want to graduate, right? It's necessary if you want to pass that test, or ace that test rather. But you got to get down in the trenches. You got to get some work done in the trenches. You need to roll your sleeves up and do the problems. You need to apply the theory. It's the application of a theory, which is where the advancement takes place. And that's important for us to recognize, because it's easy to let important tasks slide. It's a gateway to procrastination if we only try and do, the shiny tasks, right? I tend to give a lot of sports analogies, since that's part of my background, and when I tend to think of something like football, a sport that everybody knows, and more often than not, everybody wants to be the star quarterback. More often than not, nobody wants to be the offensive lineman, right? The guys that are down there working in the trenches. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, everybody gets the same ring. Everybody's a world champion. If you're part of a winning team, you don't necessarily have to be the star of the team. You just have to play a star role on the team. And so when you're working in the trenches, I think one great thing about that is in a lot of instances you're able to humble yourself, right? To come off of that high horse and be able to do what's necessary to get to where you're trying to go. And I remember back when I was first getting started trying to build a home-based business, and I was going and getting educated on some of this stuff because it was so new and foreign to me, right? The idea of like, what do I do? How do I talk to people and share the opportunity that I found? And I remember the gentleman, just like it was yesterday, was sharing the simple fact that it's almost like you have to have, even though you need to have a positive attitude to succeed, it's like you need to have a negative attitude to be weathered for survival. So in this example, you actually want to go out there and expect people to be negative, to be callous, to be not open to new opportunity. So in a lot of instances, it's like you're digging in the garbage dumps trying to find the gold. And so it was something that rang true to me at the time, because I felt like I had a great opportunity. I wanted to tell the whole world about it, and nobody seemed to care. Nobody had any real interest in bettering themselves, making extra money, enhancing their quality of life. But I realized that, I was digging through the garbage dumps of, in a lot of cases, negative, broke, stinking thinking. Not all the time, but most of the time, that's what it felt like, right? And so to find those gold mines that I was looking for, in this case, the gold nugget, so to speak, it took talking to a lot of folks to find someone that could see the opportunity in what I had to present, because I knew it was there. But it was like I was digging through the garbage dumps to get there. And so that's where it became more and more apparent to me that in our journey to success, in our journey to build a new skill, we typically got to go through the garbage dumps. We got to work in the trenches. We got to get muddy and bloody and dirty to even put ourselves in a position to have some of the success we seek. And that's typically not the case when we set out on a new opportunity, right? We don't think about the conflict that we're about to face. We just have this grandiose plan of how we're going to take over the world. You don't even think about the first battle that's going to resist you in that world takeover. And so once we understand that, once we leave that point of high empowerment and go out into the world to achieve that goal, there is going to be something that you got to take on and tackle. And so I would encourage all of you that are out there, as you look to find success in whatever it is you do, expect to spend some time in the trenches. You got to get bloody and muddy a little bit before you're going to be able to knock down or knock over or push through those barriers, right? Thank you guys all for listening in, and I can't wait to catch you on a future episode. Thanks. Talk to you soon.